Hello, hello, friends. Let's Chat is back. We are back. And we are going to talk today about having conversations because that is the one thing that's going to grow your business. So, welcome. My name is Heather Lambert. If you don't know me, we're just a bunch of Scentsy consultants, directors, and I may even find some other speakers to come on here and just chat about topics and things that are going to help us grow as people, help us grow our business, and help us live life the way we want. So today, Barbara Cemento is going to join me. She's a director with Scentsy. I've known Barbara for a little while, and we were chatting last week about some things, some challenges in our own business and how to overcome them. And we started to talk about all the things that we used to do in order to have conversations to help us grow our business. And so we're going to chat about some of those ideas today and share them with you and hopefully inspire each other for some new ideas and maybe inspire ourselves and you to go out and try some of the ideas. So hopefully you'll find one that kind of sits good with you. That's the cool thing about this business is you can build it in so many different ways. So I don't want to do anything too good until Barbara gets here. So she should be popping on anytime. And then we will add her to our chat and we will have a conversation. So if you pop on and see us, go ahead and just put your name, put where you're from in the comments. That would be great. I'd love to know. I'd also love to know if you're live with us here at noontime or if you're watching the replay. So one of the things that we talked about, we discussed what time we should do this. Oops. Cancel, approve. What time we should do this live. And so often we try to make it convenient for everybody else and it's never convenient for us, right? So Barbara and I decided we're going to do this at a time that's convenient for us and everybody else can either join us or watch the replay. So I think that's a good thing about setting boundaries around your business and making sure that it works for you. Hi, Miss Barbara. How are ya?
Hello. Okay, so new to this whole
it's a little funky, but it works better because it shows us side by side instead of a tiny little box, which I hate. So,
yeah, that's pretty groovy. I like that. I like that a lot.
There we go.
But I need to.
I was just talking about picking what
people
time to
that
do
are
this live and how we chose a time that was good for us and didn't worry about everybody else, because when you work your business, you have to work it in a way that's good for you, right? And then everybody will then join you if they want. But I think that's but that's a good I think that's a good lesson boundary generally, right? So instead of trying to do things to please other people, you do things that are good for you because that's how you can best show up. And then other people will jump on board or they'll watch it later. That's just the way it is.
Yep.
Because I have to do what's good for me.
Sure. Yeah.
So how you doing?
Well, and that's where the whole energy aspect comes in, you know. If you're being drained, then you know. I'm good. And it is very, very likely that you guys are going to see
I got a few of those
in the background.
And I have a kid doing science experiments in the kitchen. So who knows?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. It's all about authenticity. And that's really what we're talking about today, ultimately, is authenticity and bringing yourself to your business, right? We talked last week about how there's a million and one ways to run this business, really. And you can be successful doing it the way you need to do it. You don't have to do it like anybody else. You just have to find what works for you and do that really well and consistently. But ultimately, whatever way you choose to build your business, it comes down to those conversations and talking to people.
Yeah. And I think that's I'm just trying to share this over into my team page right quick, because I know that this is definitely a message that my team needs to hear. But I think oftentimes we get stuck in that mold of, I got to be like so-and-so consultant. And so when we do that, we box ourselves, right? Like we put ourselves into that consultant box where it almost takes away from our identity to a degree, right? Like, okay, I'm a Scentsy consultant. Now I have to be XYZ. Well, no, you're not. You're a Scentsy consultant in addition to Heather Lambert or in addition to Barbara Cemento. So yeah, for sure. And I can say that with full confidence because I'm 1000% guilty of that. Like 10 years, you don't do this and not
Amen.
screw up. So.
But it's true. You have to be you. You have to show up authentically you, because otherwise it drains you. It drains you of your energy, and people know that you're not being authentically you. And I don't know how many times I've heard that message in this business, that people don't join your team. They join you. They want to do business with you, not necessarily. I have people who join my team who had never experienced Scentsy ever before in their life. And it wasn't because they loved Scentsy. It was because they trusted me and they knew me, and they said, hey, I want to do whatever you're doing, because you look like you're having fun, and you look like you are, doing it in a way that I want to do it. And I think that's key. There's so many consultants in this business. You can find somebody who's doing this business the way you want to do it. And if you need a role model or a mentor or somebody, go find somebody who's doing it the way that you want to do it. Right. And have that be your example of how it can be done. Because there's 100,000,001 ways.
Right. And I think too, the consultants that don't see, like, and again, what we talked about, don't see someone doing it how they want to do it, like giving themselves that permission to do it their way, but know that, okay, well, nobody's done it this way before, so there are going to be hiccups, there are going to be failures, and just accepting those failures and being okay with that. It's kind of like, I think back to, I'm a huge lover of Chick-fil-A, right? So like the first Chick-fil-A, they believed in it, they loved it, they thought it was going to work, but nobody
else closes on Sundays
before, so what if?
But they do it anyway.
Exactly. So, but they do it anyway. So, being able to pave your own road and close on Sundays, just because that's not, if that's what you want to do, but that's not the norm. It's okay.
You can do whatever you want and be who you want in this business. And that's the cool thing. You said something about giving permission. And I think today we're going to give a lot of people permission to do some stuff. Like, it's okay to do it different, right? Yeah.
You should do it differently. And again, like, the only reason I say this is because I've been kind of somewhat reflecting on the fact. Tomorrow is my 10-year anniversary, and I'm thinking, holy
10 years.
Shit, 10 years. I'm not a person that does anything for long periods of time. Like, let's be real. And so for me to still be doing something for 10 years is like, it's pretty crazy. And so I think back to all the times I should have given myself permission and didn't, and doing things. I think one of the great things about the Scentsy community is everybody contributes to it, but everybody contributes to it in their own way, and so that's what makes it great. So if you're showing up as everyone else, then you're not contributing to the community, because you're not bringing another side to it. You're not
showing us another example. We need new examples.
You're just so give yourself permission to show up that way. I don't know. That's just what's been on my mind.
So in that,
literally today.
ultimately though, again, no matter how you decide to do it, you have to have conversations with people.
it's a people business. You need people. You have to network and have conversations. And I know a lot of people shy away from either starting a business or growing a business, or are stuck in their business because they feel like they're shy. They're introverted. They can't have conversations. They don't like to talk to strangers. They don't like to hang out with people. They don't want to go be, that weirdo in the store who comes up to strangers and tries to talk to them about Scentsy, or that horrible salesy person who's always calling people about sales or something like that. They don't want to do that, and so they're holding themselves back in their business. And that's a huge struggle for a lot of people. It's a struggle for me. I don't want to be that person.
Oh no. And that's what, for me personally, that's what holds me back, is because I don't want to be that person. And it's kind of ironic because I had a team member message me. We were supposed to meet up, but it didn't really work out this week. She's like, I want to share more on social media. She's like, but how do I do it? And I'm like, you just talk to people. You just talk to them like you would about anything else. Like, and again, it got me thinking, like, what is it about this that makes us think that our conversations need to be different?
And not just, and I think too, in the last few years, people are hiding on social media. So they're posting and praying, right? And that is not a strategy for business. It's not going to grow your business. You can't just post and pray somebody sees it and will do something about it. That's not going to happen. Most of the people growing their business, you might see their posts, but that's just one little tiny piece of what they're doing. There's a whole lot of other stuff happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And they're having conversations with people. And I know for me, I always have struggled having conversations. I've always identified as shy and introverted. But yet, when I started Scentsy, I grew this business and I became a director in a year. And so I had to have conversations with people to do that. And so what I am excited to share today are like, especially now I'm thinking back, like, what did I used to do that worked so well, that helped me have all those conversations and meet all those people, even though I didn't like talking to people? How did I do that? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah.
So I have some ideas.
It's kind of the age old question.
So how do you have conversations with people when you don't like talking to people? That's ultimately, and I think that's a challenge for 90% of people in direct sales in general. Like, how do you have conversations with people if you don't like, I don't want to have conversations with strangers. I don't want to go talk to people. So how do I do it?
No.
So I can grow my business.
Because I'm very much that person that, like, when I'm out and about doing my errands, like I'm head down focused on errands, get it done. Yeah. I've got my list. Let's do this, and move on with the day. So how do you incorporate that?
So
I want to know.
For me, the challenge is, I don't want to go up to people. I want people to come to me. I want them to be curious about my business and to give me permission to then share with them whatever it is I have to offer. I don't want to have to give them the information because I don't feel like I'm pushing it on them. But if they ask me about it, I'm not pushing it on them. They asked me for it. And so I'm just giving them what they asked me for. Right? They've given me permission now to talk about it.
Is that okay? So that's the
mindset. Is I don't want to go be the pushy salesperson. I don't want to come up and cold call people or cold conversation people. But if I can create curiosity in people that they are asking me a question, I'm just answering their question. I'm not pushing information. I'm just asking. I'm just answering their questions and giving them the information they have then asked me for. And now they're no longer a cold conversation. They're a warm conversation. They're an interested person. And once I give them the information, then they can decide what they want to do with it. We either continue the conversation or we don't. Sometimes it continues and sometimes it's over, and that's okay. But I don't feel like I have now pushed or made someone feel uncomfortable or tried to push information on people that they didn't want it, and when you start to sell to people that didn't ask for it, sometimes the wall goes up and they say no before they even hear what you have to say, right?
100%.
But if they've asked you for it, they're going to listen to what you have to say. And
yeah, you're the guy outside the car lot. Yeah. That little glowy guy, or the sign twirler guy.
Nobody wants to make eye contact.
Yeah.
So, but if they ask you, now they're going to listen to your answer, and then they can make a decision whether it is they want to continue that conversation or not, right? So it makes it a lot more comfortable and a lot less icky. You know what I'm saying? So I used to do a lot of things in my business to get that that curiosity. To strangers will see something or do something or hear something, and they'd be like, what is that? Tell me about that. So I started thinking, I brainstormed a little list of things that I used to do that I need to do again. And sometimes that's it. When you've been in this business a long time, right? There's stuff we used to do in the beginning, and things get in the way. Life happens, business changes, all the things change. COVID happens, internet changes, social media goes crazy. Basically, everything changes. But all of those simple things we used to do in the beginning still work. And so it's time to go back to some of those things in order to see the same growth that we saw back then, right? Hopefully. I mean, that's the idea.
So I love it.
I am all about simple. There ain't nothing complicated about me. I love it. Yeah. It's just easy and simple. If it's too much work, I ain't got time for that. So simple. And one of the I ain't got time for that. I have different priorities. I have priorities, and if something's taking too long, it's taking away from other things, and so you have to prioritize. And sometimes things are not as important as making samples or like doing crazy stuff. Like, I ain't got time for that. I have other things I need to do, like take a nap these days. These days it's a nap, but whatever. But one of the biggest things, I won't say biggest, that's not true. One of the easiest things that I used to do, it's not that easy either. Kind of is. Simple. It's simple. The thing that used to work the best for me, it started the most conversations for me. It took the least amount of effort communication-wise, was to carry a basket of bars. Now this one's pretty big, and you could get something smaller for sure. But this basket,
I literally was just thinking. I used to.
I did. I called it my. I swear to God, my little red riding basket. So this one is a nice, good.
That's what I was.
It's Little Red Riding Hood. Then that's what I used to call it. I used to have a wicker one. Yeah. It was a little smaller and a little shallower, so it was lighter to carry. But they all have a handle, and you have to have a good handle because wax bars get heavy. I'm telling you, it's a good arm workout. Yeah.
So you're doing double duty.
But carrying this bar around creates curiosity, and you don't have to carry it. I don't have to talk about my basket. I don't have to say, hey, do you want to see my basket? Do you want to smell my basket? I just show up wherever I was going, and I'd be like, oh, sorry, I couldn't leave this in the car. Is there anywhere I could put it? Or I would just put it down next to me or sit it on the table, and it would just be there. And people would see this basket of bars, and it smells because it's full of smelly goodness. And so people would either smell something that they liked, or they would see this big old basket, or they knew Scentsy and they saw a big basket of Scentsy bars. And you know Scentsy addicts, when they see a big basket of Scentsy bars, what happens? What do you got?
Oh, what do you?
Right?
I want to smell.
And so I used to take it with me literally everywhere I went. I would take it if I was going to Panera. I used to spend a lot of time at Panera. If I wanted to just go hang out and do some work, I would go work at Panera, and I would take my basket and I'd sit it right on the table, and I would have people come up to my table and ask me if I had certain bars, or could they smell, or what have I got, and can I buy those? Sure, you can buy them. I used to go to network meetings, and yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a question that a lot of consultants are probably thinking.
Whatever I got.
What scents do you put in there?
No.
Is there a rhyme?
It's whatever I got. And I don't like to keep a ton of stock on hand, so I usually order stuff that I will use. So if it doesn't sell off my shelf, I can just use it. So it's just whatever. I try to keep current stuff, but I mean, when you're out and about, it doesn't really matter, honestly. Because you're not looking to sell specific scents. You're just creating curiosity. You're trying to create conversation. I would go to network meetings and I would carry my basket, and I literally sold a 6-pack of wax out of my basket in an elevator once. Because some stranger was in the elevator and was like, oh, and she's like, well, so we stopped and sniffed, and she bought a 6-pack of wax.
the introvertedness in me, that gives me anxiety. Like, I don't
But
know
if you
how to
had
do
a
that.
basket of bars
Like,
and
that's
somebody said
putting
to
way too
you,
much focus on
oh my
me.
God, are those Scentsy bars? Can I buy some? Okay, sure. Uh-huh.
Well, yeah, but the people that don't
So
know
it's
it,
not going to create a conversation with everybody. If
and
they
they
say,
say,
what is
"What is
that?" They're
that?"
like, oh, these are my Scentsy bars. I sell them. I'm a Scentsy consultant. They're either going to want to know more or they don't. Oh, I don't like fragrance. Then you don't talk to them anymore. If they go, oh, really? I love smelly stuff. Oh, would you like to smell this one? It's really good. It's my favorite. Like, here, try smell some. Or here, you want to sniff? What kind of scents do you like? Oh, I got one kind of like that. Try this one. And they get sucked in. And then you start a conversation. All of a sudden, they're walking out with a 6-pack of bars.
So my go-to phrase is, what do you use to make your house smell good?
Well, I like candles.
I don't remember where I heard that. I heard that.
Yeah, because we always have something better than whatever they're using. Unless they're using Scentsy, and then you've got a basket
100%.
full of bars that you can help them keep doing that. But it's even doctor's appointments. I'm not looking to do anything with my basket at a doctor appointment, but I can't leave it in my car. I live in Florida. It's too hot outside. So it's a great excuse too. I'm not the crazy Scentsy lady. Today was nice. No, you still can't leave it in your car though, really. It get hot. The sun is hot. But like, it's a great excuse, right? Oh, I couldn't leave this in the car. I had to bring it in. I'm not bringing it. I had met with, and sometimes I lie. Oh, I just met with a customer, but I couldn't leave this in my car, so I had to bring it. Like, that's my excuse. But it creates conversation. And that is the whole point. It creates curiosity.
Okay.
It gets people looking at you when they wouldn't normally notice. I know, but it's okay because they're going to ask you. They're going to give you permission to then share with them the information. And that is a whole lot less icky than you going up to a stranger going, hey, have you ever heard of Scentsy? No, who are you, crazy lady? Why are you talking to me? Go away. But if you've got a big old basket and they go, oh, what is that? Oh, it's Scentsy. Well, what's Scentsy? Here, have a sniff. And it's right there. There you go.
I'm honestly gonna. I'm scared to publicly admit this, but I'm going to try that at some point. I just don't know when.
Find your little basket,
go there just yet.
And the next appointment you go to, just carry it along. And it, like I said, it doesn't have to be big like this. This one, it is heavy, but it is nice to have everything. And I used to put, not just bars, but I would put like a couple rows of bars and then a few room sprays and some scent circles and things like that. So there's like a little variety. And I literally would carry it around everywhere. So that was my...
So honestly, it's really like you could make it into a tote. Like
that's why a lot of people would get the clear bags because you want them to see it. Like, so the other thing I do have now, and I stopped doing it for a while, and I don't know why. Scentsy used to have these great bags that had the clear plastics. You could slide stuff and catalogs and things in them. But I started carrying a Scentsy bag around as my purse. We got these at World Tour. I had some old ones I was using, but I'm like, that one's kind of cool. So, and bright purple gets people's attention. So I started carrying it, and I was like, well, I don't want to lose all my junk. So I just got like one of those purse inserts, right? So I can just change it out, whatever bag I want to use, and everything stays organized and I can find stuff. And so I started using that as my purse, and that gets people's attention sometimes, especially if they know Scentsy. They're like, oh, you do Scentsy? Yeah, I sure do.
I've got my bag over there. I got to
so simple stuff like that. Branding yourself. We used to do that all the time. Brand yourself. Scentsy t-shirts, Scentsy bags, carry around a basket of bars, water bottles. Right? We get water bottles in the store, or like get you one. This one has Scentsy on it. It also says Wax Boss. I have a funny story about Wax Boss. So
I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
I have a question to ask you. And I heard this on the radio yesterday, so you might have heard it. I don't know, but how often do you wash
not
your
often
water
enough.
What is not often enough?
So I get favorite water bottles, and it will be probably once a week.
So somebody somewhere did a study And because I'm the same way,
I've been
I
using
only
this
wash
one
this once a week, and I only put water in it. Yeah. So allegedly, they did a study on our water bottles, and even if it's just water in it, it has more bacteria.
Well, and especially the little rubber seal on your lid, like you gotta peel that off.
That's what they were saying.
You gotta do it regularly. So you gotta have lots of bottles so that you can change them out. But this one,
you gotta be able to.
This
do it
one
daily.
has created a lot of conversation, a lot of very interesting conversations though. So, and we see this phrase wax boss all the time. So this is another great tip. So my kid, especially when he was younger, he'd get invited to birthday parties all the time, or play dates, or you go to the park or whatever. I always go with him. I know so many parents drop off their kids to birthday parties, but if you have a business like Scentsy, go to the party because there are a few other parents there, and you're going to sit and chat and have conversations. That's like one of the easiest things you can do. So go to the party, keep an eye on your kid, know what's going on at the party, but then you've got brand new people to chit chat with. And it doesn't start Scentsy, but it could finish Scentsy. And if you take your Scentsy water bottle in with you and you're sipping on water all day, it will come up, I promise. And so this phrase, wax boss, so I don't know how many times somebody has asked me about being a wax boss and thinking, and maybe this is regional because we live in Florida and it's a thing, that they think it's like waxing, like hair waxing, bikini waxing, wax boss. You've never had that?
Oh, I've never heard
multiple times. People have assumed that I am a waxer, and I've had to say, no, I don't rip hair out of your skin. I sell Scentsy fragrance. So it starts the conversation, and it really breaks the ice, right? So I stopped using it for a while. Then I thought, what am I doing? Why am I stopping to use this? People think I'm a wax. So what? They're going to ask, and it's going to start a conversation, and then we're going to have a conversation about Scentsy, and then they can decide what they want to do with that. So
what is it that we said? I have it wrote down, but I can't see it. It's under stuff. What did we say? We conversations about random
stuff leads to conversations. That's the thing. It doesn't have to be business.
Because it's almost always people, like, first time they meet him, either like the second or third question they're asking, what do you do? Oh, what do you do? And I wonder why that is. Like, why are we so curious of what people
it's a
do
way to
for
start
living,
a conversation, right? And that's it. And I don't know how many times people said, make compliments to people. If you like their earrings, tell me you like their earrings. If you like their shirt, tell me you like their shirt. Like, it opens up the door to conversation. It doesn't have to be about Scentsy, and it shouldn't always be about Scentsy. It's just a conversation.
No.
And then you connect to people and you decide what's next. You decide if you want to continue that conversation or not. And sometimes you're not. And sometimes they're amazing and they become your BFF, and you just never know. So, do you have any other ideas that have popped up in your head? I have a few more.
We were talking. And this is kind of twofold, because this is not something that I personally do, but I do know a lot of people have success with this. But they'll do the QR codes or like branding of some sort on their vehicles. And I hear a lot of consultants.
I have a team member who has a QR code on her car. And I have seen something new where it's like an Apple Pay scan. It's not even a QR code. You just touch and it opens it up. And so I've been thinking about getting one of those because that sounds fun. And people like fun new things. They're like, oh, I haven't seen that before. Let me try it.
Is that
I forget what it's called. I'll find the link and put it in the comments. But I do have a QR code on my business cards. So
I use QR codes for
it used to be a thing and it went away. But since COVID, everything became a QR code, right? You go to the restaurant and all the menus were a QR code, scan this, scan that. So we don't have anything for you to touch, just scan it, look at it on your phone. So QR codes, it became a thing again. And everybody's comfortable with them now. And so I put one on everything. And I specify, like, I have different QR codes based on what it is. Like if I have flyers for laundry, then the QR code goes to the laundry section of the website, right? So it just depends on what it is you're putting it on.
I think too, in your conversation, you know, whether you're going to do the QR code or whatever, removing, and this kind of maybe isn't conversation based, but on the back end of it, when you have yourself prepared to for the things to happen, like example on my little sticker sheet here, if I didn't know where this goes, I would be a little less confident in showing them, right? Like I'd be a little less confident to say, hey, scan here and you can shop or whatever. So setting yourself up for success to be able to be confident enough to have those conversations and remove that friction from somebody being able to order with you or shop with you, I think makes you more confident in having those conversations, you know, because you could literally take this and just hand it out to somebody and it has all your information right there. But, you know, because that's, I know for me, I think that has definitely been a weak point in my conversations is not setting myself up on the back end to be confident enough in, you know, carrying around a basket or having somebody
it
ask
does
me about
identify you as the expert,
then
right?
it
It
like
identifies you as an expert, and then people have questions and they expect you know the answers. And so how important to make sure you are checking news tab, doing trainings, checking out product guide, being familiar with your catalog, knowing about your products. Like that's important because that's your business. So you should know about stuff. So so take the time to know things. And you're right, it does make you more confident to have those conversations when you have the information. For sure.
Yeah, and being okay in your conversations to say I don't know. Like I do a handful of events and I don't carry stock. So like literally my events are a lazy Susan that's about that big and whatever can fit on it can fit on it. And you know, I had one lady ask me, she's like, would you have other scents? And I'm like, I got 80 plus.
Yeah.
I'm like, what you want? You know, it's not, it's okay to not know. It's okay to not know. Somebody will ask me about a scent or somebody will ask me about a product that, does it come in this or how much is it?
Let's
I'm like,
find out.
I don't remember. But being able to have the conversation of let's find out together or let's look it up together or whatever. So setting yourself up on that back end to be able to answer those questions and know that you're not going to know everything. But do your due diligence. Make the best effort.
Be familiar. You have to be familiar with lots of stuff.
That's the way.
But you don't have to be an expert to start. Don't wait till you know all the things to start. That's, I think, the biggest lesson. Yeah.
For sure.
No.
I still don't know.
Especially our catalog, we have so much more things than we used to have. I used to know it like by heart. I could tell you everything and the name of everything. And now I'm like, what's the name of that? I don't know. How much are those? I have no idea. Let's look it up. I don't know. That's why I have a catalog.
Let's look it up. So I know some people will wear their name tags and things like that out in public. I've only had this happen once. I don't remember if it was a bag or something, but I was in Aldi and a lady stopped me and she had been a consultant before and she saw my bag and she's like, I need some stuff, and she wound up rejoining.
Yeah, those are great. So, anything to identify you as
having
Scentsy.
Anything to identify.
Yeah, because there are people now that know about Scentsy. And they will see that and go, oh, you sell Scentsy? I haven't talked to my lady in forever, or my lady stopped selling, or like you hear that all the time. I hear that all the time.
And that blows my mind. Literally
people are looking for a way to get. For sure. So anything you can carry or wear, name tags, wear your name tag upside down, people pay attention to it better. Did you know that? You know that trick? Wearing your name tag upside down?
No.
It's sort of like, I actually saw there is actually a business in Orlando. Their billboard outside their business is upside down on purpose. Because your brain scans stuff and everything that looks normal, like it just kind of scans over and doesn't pay attention. But if something's out of place or wrong, right? That's wrong. Something's wrong here. What is wrong with this picture? And so when your name tag's upside down, people pay attention to it more. They go, hey, your name tag's upside down. Oh, is it? I do that on purpose. because you noticed. And now you've looked at my Scentsy name badge and you know that I'm from Scentsy, and now we can talk about it. So yeah, I know people that do that on purpose.
So can you talk about it? Like,
I've never personally done that, but I do know people that have done that. And yes, they do strike up conversations. I have realtor friends that do it too on purpose. No, it depends on what they say.
What would you, how would you, yeah.
You could tell them, say, no, I did that on purpose so you'll pay attention. It worked. Did it work? And then you broke the ice. You broke the ice, right?
Gotcha.
And now you're having a conversation with somebody. It doesn't matter if it's about Scentsy or not. You're going to connect to that person or not, and the conversation will continue or it won't. But you've started the conversation, and that's the whole point. When you're struggling with having conversations, you just have to start them. That's the first step. And once you practice starting conversations, then you can start having better conversations. But if you can't even start a conversation, then that's where you have to start. Break the ice and start the conversation, right?
And I think kind of like, again, what we talked about last week, it's removing that expectation, you know, of having the conversation.
It doesn't have to be about business all the time at first. It just has to be conversations.
No.
Business will come. If you just start having conversations and get to know people and let them get to know you. Because when they start getting to know you, they're like, oh, I kind of like you. Yeah. Now let me find out more. And they find out what you do, or you connect on Facebook and then they see what you do or whatever. Then it continues and business eventually will happen. That's just the way it works. It doesn't have to be the first thing that you have conversations about.
And the way my mind goes to that is, that's why it's so important to not lose yourself, not only identify yourself as the Scentsy consultant, because, you know, if you're quirky, if you're random, if you're weird, whatever, you know, if you like funny jokes, incorporate that, like still do all the things.
Because people are going to get to know you, and whether they want to have a Scentsy conversation or whether they enjoy fragrance or not, they know people that do. But if they like you because you're cool, because they like you, and they know you, then when they hear somebody needing something, they're going to be like, oh, you. And so you just never know where those little conversations that have nothing to do with Scentsy may lead to. You just never know. So you have to have them.
Yeah. Creating that know, like, and trust.
So we've talked about baskets, shirts, bars, water bottles, Scentsy droppings. That was another thing we used to talk about all the time, is leaving a little Scentsy everywhere you go and dropping Scentsy around the world. No matter what it is, it could be anything, whatever you have. Like, it doesn't have to be an investment. It doesn't have to be even cute. It's just anything, like little samples, scent circles, stickers. These are cool cards. I got these somewhere along the way. Thanks for all you do. It's a scratch off. And when you scratch it off, it says, you're awesome. These would be great for waitresses at a restaurant. Leave a little note. Thank you for your service. Blah, 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 blah. You're awesome. And then you leave your business card. Like, drop a little thing.
Oh, I love that.
Just droppings.
I've never really thought about that.
I think they're still
those. You can get those and make your own off of
I think they're still in the family store
too.
There might be some similar, but it could be a sticky note. Thank you for whatever, and then you put a little sample of your business card. It doesn't have to be fancy, but you drop a little something along the way wherever you go. You never know what kind of connection that might make to somebody. I can tell you that my sponsor, which means me and my entire organization and all of her entire organization, are all here 12 years later because of a discontinued catalog that got left behind at a dentist office. That's how we eventually came to be, because whoever picked up that discontinued catalog looked through it. It was discontinued. It was an old catalog. Don't throw away your old catalogs. Leave them laying around everywhere. You're going to throw them away anyway. Leave them in a grocery basket. Leave them in a dentist office. Leave them laying around at the playground. Like, who cares? You're going to throw them out anyway. Leave them laying around the world. Somebody picked up a discontinued catalog in a dentist office and decided to join. Somebody joined them, and that person recruited my sponsor.
Crazy.
This person is no longer with Scentsy. They left a long time ago, but that person led to that person, which recruited my upline. who recruited my sponsor, who recruited me, and we're all here. But we're all here because that one person picked up that discontinued catalog and decided to join. So you never know what your droppings, who is going to end up with your droppings, right? You just never know.
Your droppings. That's so funny. It's
you
like
never know.
Rabbit droppings or
stickers
something.
On your car, like cheap.
Yeah.
All the things, right?
Yeah. I'm a scent circle junkie. Like I literally think these are so underutilized.
Yes.
Like seriously.
Yeah.
Write a little note. Like I have some of these in my truck for the My Hero, and whenever I see cops or whatever, I always give them one because I just think that's just, an underutilized. And funny story. My husband was taking this lady to jail one time, and she was crying. Like she was working her magic. She didn't want to go to jail. And so she's in the back of the patrol car, and she's crying. And then, oh, did you finally knock that over? Good job. And so she instantly like turns it off, and she's like, "Your car smells so good." He's like, "Thanks." He's like, "I'll tell my wife."
Yeah.
He had a scent circle in it. So, cops need,
yes,
cops
please,
need to
thank you.
Too.
No, but that's true. And so that brings me to another thing on my list is using the products yourself, right? You have to use them. And if you're using them, people will smell them. Yeah. I used to have a mini warmer in my office. I worked in the apartment community in the office, and the maintenance guys used to come in all frustrated and working hard, and they'd walk in and go, and they'd instantly relax, right? Okay. I kept an air purifier with pods in my classroom. And so every time you walked in the classroom, it just was like, oh, okay, that's better. Like it didn't smell like stinky school.
And yeah, and now
you can spray Scentsy Fresh everywhere. And if you do it right,
everywhere
in your car, even when you go through the drive-through, you roll down your window and people will smell your car and they'll be like, "What does that smell?"
I always
so
have
keep
that.
your car smelling good. Put on lotion, body cream, use their products, because when you go places, you smell. Use the laundry because your clothes will smell good. They'll be like, "What is that smell? Somebody walked in. What is that?" It's me. It's laundry. It's me. It's hand lotion. Want to try some? That whiff of scent, people will get it, and it will start a conversation. We used to talk about, Kiana told you this last week, we used to talk about keeping samples in your wallet with your cash. If you're a cash person, put a sample, like not these bags because these hold the scent pretty well, but just regular plastic Ziplocs, and you put a sample in with your cash, and or spray your money with Scentsy Fresh or room spray or something. And when you pay with your cash smells good, and people will comment, and it opens the door to the conversation.
So that just got me thinking too, because I used to be cash, and now I'm more debit card and electronic payment, stuff like that. So you could also take your label, like if you have a label, and put it on the top of your
and if you use your Scentsy credit card, like our Scentsy Pay Portal card, use it. I know I put most of my money in my bank account, but that's a missed opportunity because we could be using our Scentsy card and it says Scentsy right on it, and that could get attention from people. And it's all these tiny little things, right? Yeah. You just start incorporating it in your life, all these tiny little things, they add up, and you start having conversations with people that you wouldn't have normally. And it just conditions you to then have those conversations. Whereas before, you're like not talking to anybody, you don't make eye contact, you walk around life with your head down. Yeah. Whereas if you're carrying a basket and you've got Scentsy on you and your money smells good and your car smells good, and they go, "Oh, look at that," and it's people are mentioning things to you or commenting, and you're all of a sudden you're having conversations, and it becomes a habit. It becomes comfortable because you're doing it more often. Yeah. And you never know where those conversations will lead. And that's where you start.
And that's where you start, because like what we talked about last week is you see that big picture of, putting yourself into these situations to have these conversations, and you expect to have success instantly from these conversations.
If it's not comfortable for you and it's not something you're used to doing, you're not going to jump out and start asking people, do you want to buy Scentsy? Do you want to join my team? So many people struggle with that, and so they do nothing. And you don't have to do nothing. You can just start having conversations with people and getting people curious because of what you've got around and hanging out, and then see where those conversations lead. And once you're more comfortable with that and it becomes more of a habit, then you start growing and you having bigger conversations, and then you start the conversations, or you start, inserting Scentsy a little earlier, a little bit more intentionally. But just start having conversations.
Just start. Yeah.
And all of these little things.
I love it.
Excuses.
I love it. I love
for people to come to you, so you don't have to go to them. If it's scary, you need an excuse.
Yes.
And so create those things in your life.
And I can talk to people, I think, but you guys talk to me first.
Exactly.
I'm not going to seek you out
all day. So
yeah, I like the way you think.
Action creates momentum, right? And when we get stuck, we get in our head and we start thinking, and nothing happens. When you're just thinking about all the things. I know a lot of people that want to do big things with their business, and they're thinking about all the things they want to do with their business, but they're not doing anything. You have to actually do in order for things to happen. And that creates momentum. It creates energy. And that energy and momentum is attractive to people. And they will be more likely to want to hang out and do things with you, buy stuff, join your team, whatever, party, if you have that energy and momentum and you exude that. And you're not going to do that if you're just not doing, right? So throw a little Scentsy around the world. Identify yourself.
I love that.
So people know and can ask you questions. Carry things, even if it's, it's a little cumbersome to carry stuff around, but it could pay off big time. You just never know.
You can put a didn't
yes, absolutely. For 30 days she wore a bar as a necklace, and she had these big huge giant buttons. Ask me about Scentsy, or I do Scentsy, or I forget what they said. Yeah, and she wore it around her neck like a big giant necklace, or an empty wax, or it had a little bit of wax in it, and she wore it like a necklace. And people would ask her about it all the time. What is that? Oh, here, smell. Do you like it? Cool. Here's a catalog. Like, is that easy? I mean, it's weird and uncomfortable, but it can be that easy. Yeah. You don't have to go up to people. People will come up to you and ask, what the hell are you doing? What is
They might
that?
stay 6 feet away these days, but still.
Oh, here you go. Sniff it. Yeah. I've heard stories about people crazy things to get attention or to start the conversation. At the grocery store, and you're searching for your wallet and you can't find it, so you start emptying your bag to find what it is you're looking for, and it's a room spray, it's a catalog, it's oh, here's my wallet.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
Oh, here it is. Let me just put all that back in my these silly things. I would go to the post office, and when you go to the post office, it's that little counter, and I would put my little bag right up on the counter, and the catalog would be sticking out, and it's in their face. Like, I didn't say a word about Scentsy. I'm just paying for my postage. Oh, is that a Scentsy catalog? Sure, here you go. Like, you just create opportunities for people to ask you about stuff. And that means you got to carry stuff around.
Yep.
And throw it into the world.
But that also means you have to take the action.
You can't hide
things.
You can't hide and grow a business. You can't just post and pray. You gotta do the things. And
I think too, so much of today's culture, whereas I think we were craving that. I notice people craving that connection more and more, as things are becoming more normal. I think the pandemic did a lot of good things, more than bad things. I think it shined the light way more on online business and, making people a little more resourceful to online things. so now take what it created and meld it with that personal connection, you know, and having those conversations. And like what we talked about last week is it doesn't have to be the business. And you could also, like, I mean, you literally, and this is what I've been trying to do. Of course, I have not had an opportunity this week to do it, but intentionally don't make it about Scentsy.
It's just conversation.
Is what I'm trying to do, just so I can get to a place and I can get to a comfortable place to where I can just have a conversation.
Because for so many of us,
just
that
have
is
a conversation.
the obstacle. And we're not having conversations.
Yes.
And our businesses aren't growing because we're not having enough conversations. And so you have to start somewhere. And if it's comfortable enough to just start with anything. Yeah.
Hi, how are you today? Wow.
Those are cute earrings. Where'd you get them? Like, we used to do that all the time. We used to talk about it all the time. Where did it go?
Mm-hmm. People are naturally curious, like you said.
Yep.
Yeah.
So great chatting with you, Miss Barbara. I
love it.
Always love to see your beautiful face.
Good. It was so fun. I love this.
So that's conversations when you don't like talking to people. Try some stuff out. If you try something, share it with us. We'd love to hear how it went.
Yes. I want to know. And for the introverted people, we have to unite and stick together.
If you come up with something else or something new that worked, let us know. Always looking for fresh ideas.
For sure. Yes. 100%. 100%. Because we are not the end all be all. We
always looking for fresh ideas and new things to try.
So we have to contribute to the community.
Yay!
Which means we have to do new things.
All right. Well,
so
thank you.
Thank you, Miss Heather.
A fabulous weekend, and I hope to have a new topic for next week. What will I chat about next week? I don't know yet.
I'll be curious to see.
Bye for now. Bye.